everybody. Welcome to Secure the Seat Live. My name is Minda Hartz. I'm your host. Just so happy that you all are here today. Excuse me. Allergies. I don't know if anybody has to deal with them like I do, but I'm happy that you're here. A lot has been going on in the last 24 hours, which I'm sure many of you are aware of, or you're just waking up this morning and you're finding out about everything that's been transpiring. But we're here, and as our affirmation for the month has been, you're right where you're supposed to be. And so this is the last Monday of March, Women's History Month, and we just want to salute you all and let us know how your weekend was. I had spent the weekend in Las Vegas at the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit, and it was just really nice. There were 1,200 Black women at the event, and it was just just being in community in that way was everything I didn't even know I needed and more. I was there as a speaker, but I got a chance to sit in on some of the sessions and just connect with people, meet some of you for the very first time. It was just really, really, really great. And so today's episode, we actually, our guest had a scheduling conflict this morning, and so we're going to talk about emotional intelligence on another week, but today it actually worked out kind of good because I think we just need to talk. We just need to have some community chat today because there's just been so much going on in the world, from the confirmation hearings to the Oscars, just we're still in a pandemic, so much is going on. Let me ask you, how is your heart? How are you feeling? Because there's just a lot going on. And so I actually do believe that, today was just a good day for us just to be in community, just to chat. Let us know how your feelings are. I have a couple things that I want to go through. Today will be a short and sweet show, but I think it's still important that we have this moment to talk about some of the things that are impacting our community, right? And so from, again, the confirmations to Chris Rock, Will Smith, there's just so much going on. And if you follow any of this stuff on Twitter, it's like the family is divided on what this is, right? And there's so many different narratives competing right now. Is it about protecting Black women? Is it about violence? Is it about all of these different things? And what we know is that multiple things can be true at one time, right? And the reality is that so much, unfortunately, of this country's system is that when one Black person does something wrong, then that affects everybody, right? And that is not okay, right? And so many of us feel that right now. And I just want to create that space today in which we can be together, process. It may take a little bit. Maybe some of us are like, I don't even care about this, right? These are two rich Black men that'll be okay. I mean, I don't know how many of you are feeling, or Jada, right? How all this is landing on her, because what was a joke initially then turned into a lot more. Right. So again, there are a lot of things going on right now. And so definitely use the chat. Let us know. Shout out to those who are watching us primarily on LinkedIn, and I know on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook. And so also, before we get into some of the stuff I want to talk to you all about, is today is my grandmother's birthday. I'm so blessed and honored that I get a chance that I grew up with my grandmother, and I know that a lot of people don't have that privilege. And today I don't want to put all her business out in the streets, but she celebrates her birthday. So she turns 81 today. Happy birthday to my grandmother. She watches Secure the Seat each week. And so give our granny some love in the chat. It's a beautiful thing to be able to still walk this earth, do the things that you enjoy. She moves and shakes hard. I don't even know where she gets the energy. She moves and shakes harder than me. I was in Las Vegas this weekend for work, but then I had some play too, and I am struggling. And then I stayed up last night and all that Oscar stuff. And so your girl is struggling. But the other thing I want to tell you is next week, You Are More Than Magic, my first young adult book by Penguin Teen, comes out next Tuesday. If you have not purchased, pre-ordered, please do so. This is my first young adult book, and I feel this is a very special book. I'll just say that. And after reading the audio book of it all, I realized that it's not just for young Black and brown girls, but it's also for us too, because I talk about a lot of things about my childhood growing up and those sorts of things, and just some messaging that I believe our young girls need to hear. So if you work at a school district or a library, or you're part of a young girls organization, let's get this book in the hands of everyone. Also, if you consider yourself an ally and you have kids, or you are white guardians to children of color, you can't function in a we don't see race type of household. You got to understand and see them, right? And have certain conversations as well. And so this is the book for you. I have guides at the back of the book for parents or guardians of color to engage with their young adult in reading the book together. But then also I have a guide inside the book for white parents and guardians to engage with their white kids or kids of color. So definitely want to make sure that we get this book. My goal, my personal goal, is to donate, get 500 of these books out into public school systems across the country. I am personally going to donate 100 books, and I have a good friend, Tara J. Frank, who has a book coming out, The Waymakers, in May, and she is donating 100 books. So next week I'll have a link. Well, later in the week I'll have a link for those if you'd like to donate a book or sponsor a book, because we want to make sure that we get this book into the hands so that they know their worth before they get to our age, right? What were some of the things that we needed to hear at 14 and 15 or 18 that might have prepared us for the workplace even more? And so this book means so much. Oh, and again, stay tuned on LinkedIn or my social platforms. We're going to have some book events next week. So bring your young adults, your nieces, your nephews, bring everybody. Okay. Mike, let's share some of the stuff that's coming across the screen. I want to know how people are feeling today, what's going on in your minds, what's, so much has happened. Thank you so much, Karen. Appreciate you. Again, we've had the Oscars, we've had the confirmations, we've had a lot going on, and then we have our own personal lives. That stuff that is going on in our own lives to deal with, and so that's important. So it's a heavy burden. It certainly is. And if you are, Black or brown, you're feeling it in a different type of way today, right? And it's unfortunate that when, when dominant culture experiences something on an award show or on a tweet or something, the whole white culture doesn't have to hold on to that, right? But because Black and brown people are in certain spaces, we're not represented. When these certain things happen, it really does affect many of us, if not all of us, in some way, shape, or form. And we know the Oscars has always had some kind of issues around diversity. And then the night that we have all the diversity is when certain things hit the fan. I don't know. I wasn't there. I was watching it, and I'm still in shock too. And so IDK. But how you gonna win if you ain't right within? And I hope that you, in the midst of all this stuff, that you find your joy, right? There are, as it just popped up on the screen, there's so many good things to be grateful for. There's so many things that we still have breath. We made it here. Being in Las Vegas at the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit, I was there 2 years ago, right before COVID, literally. When I got back from the summit 2 years ago, a few days later, everything shut down in New York City, right? And when I seen certain women 2 years later, it was just so nice to see their faces, some of them that I had seen 2 years ago, because we made it to this point, right? And everybody definitely can't say that. And so it was just a blessing to be able to be there, and definitely. And so let's not forget, we're right where we're supposed to be. That has been the affirmation for the month. But something that I thought was important for us to read today is I'm going to read a little bit from Right Within, because I know that many of us might not be feeling so right within for whatever reasons, right? Maybe not what's going on in the news and the media, but just in our own lives. And I just want us to come back to center. And I want to read from a chapter called Healing for My Soul, because there's so much going on. And one of the things that, if you haven't read Right Within yet, one chapter that I have is around church, right? And I have chapters around therapy and those sorts of things. And so I just want to read something from you or for you, and I hope that it resonates with you. And today, because I'm tired and I can't really see, I'm gonna have to wear my glasses. It's just one of those days. So let me jump into it. Kelly Price sings, "Take away this pain and misery, because God, I can't do this by myself. I need help." It's such a profound line because at the crux of it, she's saying we can't heal alone. But before anything, we have to admit we are in pain. We need the right tools to improve ourselves, yet we shouldn't feel shame for seeking out our own healing. If we go back to the Old Testament, there were plenty of people in the Bible who experienced pain and received healing from their trauma, even some that happened in the workplace. I want to share two examples of those who might not grasp where I'm going with this. Remember, we are on a fantastic voyage. First, let's take a look at one of the most popular characters in the Bible, David. In the book of Psalms 55, 2 and 3, in the New International Version, he writes, "My thoughts trouble me, and I am distraught because of what my enemy is saying, because of the threats of the wicked, for they bring down suffering on me and assail me in their anger." David continues to talk about his mental state in verses 4 through 7. "My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen on me. Fear and trembling have beset me. Horror has overwhelmed me. I said, oh, that I might have wings of a dove. I would fly away and be at rest. I would flee far away and stay in the desert." David was pleading for some peace in his situation. It's clear to me he is experiencing some sort of trauma. Now, I'm going to take some liberties here with this verse. Think about it from a career context. Suppose the enemy he is referring to is a toxic manager or colleague. Many of us have probably been in David's shoes. Have you ever been so overwhelmed by a workplace experience that you just wanted to throw up the deuces and leave it all? I don't know. I know you can't see me, well, you all can right now, but I'm raising my hand too. I was dealing with a white colleague who was making the workplace unbearable. And it wasn't just that she was a bully, but there was a racialized bullying taking place as well. At first, I tried to tell myself she didn't mean any harm because, that's our go-to, isn't always calling something racist. It's the last thing we want to call it. The horrible treatment I received while everyone watched escalated to the point of no return. I would daydream like David and wish I could fly off to somewhere other than my office. All I had to show for the struggle were crushed dreams and lots of anxiety, and my enemy continued to live her best life despite the devastation she left in mine. Oh, and I know what you Bible scholars might be thinking. Minda, don't you remember the verse, "Be anxious for nothing"? Yes, but God never said we wouldn't be anxious. He knew life would bring about those feelings. But the Bible does say, "The peace of God, which surpasses all of understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus." Meaning we are all in need of a little peace. You can't get through the anxiety without finding your remedy to peace. Peace is available to all of us. Peace for you might be working out, by talking through your situation with a friend, or through counseling from a faith-based practitioner. The bottom line is, it's hard to thrive when you have no peace. And I think that right now in the situation with Ukraine, Russia, everything that is going on, gas prices high as a kite, we all need some peace, right? And I don't want you to forget the peace part of all of this, right? If you believe in the Bible, you believe in, Christian tenets, the Bible didn't say we wouldn't be anxious, right? But we have to have certain tools in our toolkit to dismantle that anxiousness, which is peace, right? And so regardless of what your situation is today, tomorrow, whatever it is, let us find some peace. What are those things that bring us joy? What are the things that allow us to be our best selves, right? If you don't want to talk about this Oscar thing no more, release yourself of it, right? Find your peace. If watching the confirmations or, reading content around that that disrupts your peace, find your peace, right? Center yourself. What would it look like if we center ourselves, right? And so I just want you to think about that. There's always going to be something going on, but can we access peace? What are the things that we need to do to have those peaceful moments? Let's say for work, right? Many of us may be having to grapple with our colleagues trying to talk about what happened last night, and we don't want to be engaging in those conversations, right? What does it look like to create the boundary? You don't have to engage in this conversation. This is not part of the job description, talking about what happened on television, right? You know what I mean? Like, what is it that you need to get your peace, right? Do you need to have a conversation with someone in your house that you've been setting off to the side and your peace has been disrupted because you won't have that conversation? You know, something that I write about in You Are More Than Magic is I have a whole chapter about difficult conversations for teenagers, because I know that it was sometimes hard for me as a teen to have difficult conversations, which then made it even harder when I became an adult because I wasn't used to really talking about certain things. I didn't realize that even as a youth, I was sweeping things under the rug. So what makes it, so you get to be an adult in the workplace, and so there too, it makes it a little bit easier. But had I had some peace in certain situations, I could have showed up a little bit differently when I entered into corporate America or nonprofit spaces, right? And I just, something that came up in a conversation in Las Vegas during the panel that I was on was about old tools of survival, right? Many of us were just told to, work hard, keep your head down, don't say anything, don't rock the boat. Those are old tools of survival. And I want to disrupt those old tools, right? They were helpful to help us survive. But what could it be to thrive? You can't thrive without peace. I believe that the two go hand in hand. Okay? You cannot thrive without no peace. And let me tell you, I'm a tambourine moment myself on that one. So you cannot thrive without some peace. Peace is important. It's an important ingredient to our lives, to our sustainability. Okay, and so we have to activate it, and we can't pass on tools to the next generation of survival. We need to pass on tools of thriving, right? Boundary setting, self-care, like all of these things are important, right? And so I think that this week, I hope that you will ask yourself, what does peace look like for me? Number one. Number two, how do I access it? Tell me what peace means to you in the chat. I want to know what you all think about peace, because I know we say it, right? We say peace, we peace out, it's a fun word to say, but are we actually demonstrating what peace looks like? I would love to hear from you. Drop it in the chat. What does peace look like for you? I hope you all don't mind that this is what the show has turned into today. And for those who are like, why aren't we talking about emotional intelligence like you said? Because our guests, we had a scheduling conflict, and so now we're having community chat. That's what we do, right? We're right where we're supposed to be, getting some peace. No, not just surviving. We all know what survival feels like. Mike, can you be so kind to share some things on the screen of those who are talking about peace? I would love to share it with those who may not be in the chat right now. Building honest relationships gives me peace. Yes. I love that so much. That's true, right? Brene Brown says clarity is kindness. If we can't be honest with the people that we love, that's not giving us any peace, right? Creating boundaries, absolutely. Absolutely. Being able to love with no limits, that's really beautiful. Peace is so powerful. I don't even think we understand that moment when you've had a hard day and maybe you walk into your house or you walk into whatever your safe space is and you just feel that shift, right? That peace. Like last night, if any of you are watching the Oscars, when the situation happened, it shifted. The peace was no longer in the building. You could tell. You didn't have to be in that room to know that the energy shifted in that space, right? Think about it even from the confirmation hearings when Judge Jackson was going through all of those micro and macroaggressions in the hearings, and then when Cory Booker affirmed her, she found her peace. She found some peace. Did you see her energy shifted? Peace is such a powerful tool. It's accessible to each and every one of us. We just got to figure out how we get it. What do we need to do to activate it? What conversations do we need to have to get it? When I was in my former life, certain colleagues would do certain things and I'd be so upset about it. And then I had to have some moment with myself and say, well, first of all, you haven't even told them that it's bothering you. Now, you would think that they would know not to do some of these things, right? But when have you created the boundary to say that, no, you don't like it when they call you Mindy, or you don't like it when they touch your hair? Like you're sitting in your office, you're sitting in your cube, You're at home thinking about this, upset, but what would it look like, not for them, but for you, to give yourself some peace, right? So that I don't have to continuously feel this way. For me, peace is prayer, peace is self-care, peace is going to my therapist, right? Peace is seeing the people that I love, checking on them, those sorts of things, right? Peace could also be vacations or writing or journaling. It can be a lot of different things. Peace can even be playing your favorite song. But I hope that you will, this week, you will challenge yourself to create the space for peace. Mike, can you share some other things that folks are sharing in the chat? I hope that you're just finding some peace in this conversation. For me, peace is soft stillness that I feel in the midst of chaos. Ooh, I like that a lot. I like that. I hope that you are finding a little bit of peace right now. To breathe in and out, even if it's just 2 minutes a day where you just have that space. Peace is no shame. You know, we should not feel guilt or shame around finding our peace, because peace creates the joy that we need. It creates the space. Peace is quiet time. Exactly. Right? You know, something that I was talking about with my therapist a couple of weeks ago was that I just felt like I just had no time for myself, right? I'm in back-to-back meetings, on talks, all of these different things. My life has changed a lot in very good ways in the last couple of years, and I just am constantly sometimes feeling overwhelmed, right? And one of the things that he said to me was, how are you spending your time? He said, do you work up until you go to bed? And I'm like, yes. I'm starting very early, New York hours most of the time, and I'm working up until the moment I go to bed. He's like, what would it look like if you give yourself some peace before you go to bed? That you don't work up until you get in the bed, right? Till you brush your teeth. That you give yourself that little space where you're not thinking about all the other things or thinking about the next day, that you create the space. He said, I'm going to challenge you, Minda, to at least an hour before you go to bed, at least. Start there, right? Baby steps. Cut off. Do something that brings you joy before you go to bed, so that you have some peace before you get in the bed. And I have been, yes, being able to live in the moment. And I have been giving myself that space, which ultimately is that peace. To read, to do nothing, you know, to catch up on a show, to call someone that I might want to talk to, just for me, right? And I think especially for Black and brown women, we don't always get that peace. We don't always get that space. We have to be so many different things to so many different people. So many different people are counting on us to be perfect, to do all the things, right? And the moment we're not all those things, it's hard, right? And I hope that you will give yourself some space this week, some grace this week, because you deserve it. Again, there's always going to be stuff happening in the universe, but it's what we do. It's how we respond. We have choice, right? We have a choice. If the group text is popping about this and it's really not giving you peace, talking about some of these things that are going on, mute it, hide it. I'm on like 50 group texts, not by choice. And it gives me sometimes anxiety around it, because it's just like constant. And then once I figured out how to like mute it or remove myself and those sorts of things, at first I felt guilty around it. I'm like, oh, you know, and then I'm like, you know what? I need peace. I don't need to be on 50 group chats. The 3 that I do function is enough. Right? You know, it's those little things that create the space that we need so much, right? So I'm challenging each and every one of us, myself included, to find our peace today. Don't even wait. Don't wait till Friday. Don't wait till Wednesday. Today, if you're watching us live, is Monday, okay? What is it going to look like for peace for you today? Some of you might be halfway through your day. You still got time to figure out what peace looks like for you, right? Maybe you live in a house with a bunch of different people. You say, Minda, you know what? It's hard to find the peace. Go in the bathroom, shut the door, if you can. Put headphones on for a little. If you get 2 minutes of peace where you just zone out, light the candle, right? You got a closet. If you got to get in the closet and shut the door for a minute and hide, just so you can find some peace. Maybe peace is reading a paragraph just because you like to read and you never really get that space, right? It's the small acts of courage, the small steps to boundaries that give us that space. Mike, can you share a few more comments and then we're going to wrap up today's show? I actually think that I'm glad we did have a scheduling conflict because, yes, writing in our journal, absolutely. Because I just think we needed a space just to talk about some of the elephants in the room, right? Peace is being able to sit outdoors, enjoying beautiful weather, and do nothing for a few minutes. Yes, yes. And I want you this week to, if you follow me on Instagram, you follow me on LinkedIn, you follow me on Twitter, wherever you follow me, Facebook, tell me what if you were able to get some peace this week and what you did. I definitely want to hear from you about that because we need it so much, desperately, right? We need it. There's power in rest. Listen, the nights when I'm able to get 8 hours of sleep, I feel some peace. It's very rare, but when I'm able to do that, I feel so much better, right? Rest is power. That's really, really great. One more comment from the chat, Mike, if you don't mind, please. Peace is being still and listening to God. Yep. So whatever you need, I hope you figure it out for your peace, because peace leads to our mental health, and we can't be right within if we aren't our most healthiest selves, right? Peace is saying no or doing nothing, saying yes to small desires and indulgences. Absolutely. You know, I like that. Peace can be saying no. Absolutely. You know, that's something that I've had to lean into more and more and more, because I'm someone who I want to be at everything for people. If they ask me to do something, I want to try my hardest, right? And there was something that I really wanted to do recently, but I had like 8 talks. I had something crazy going on one day and I just could not do that thing. And I felt bad initially, but then I said, you know what? I need my peace. I cannot do this. I can't do it now, but follow back up with me in the fall, right? That peace, giving yourself permission to say yes or no, not tying it to how somebody responds to what you've said, right? I love that Nene Leakes meme where she says, I said what I said. You know, it's funny, it's actually one of my favorite memes to use. And it's not this negative thing, right? I think part of our peace that gets disrupted is because we're thinking about how somebody else is going to perceive what we've done. What would someone do if I go in the room and I shut the door for 5 minutes? They might think I'm mad. They might think this or that's on them. What they think about this, right? But I'm finding space for me, right? And I think we have to start to normalize creating that space, right? But also giving ourselves permission to tell someone, you know what? This is my quiet time. I need 3 minutes in here just for me. And when I'm done here, we can have this conversation. Or I can listen to you once I've had the space for myself. Some people get peace. Well, you know what? Have you ever had somebody tell you, create a boundary with you? They were very firm with you about they weren't going to do something or not going to do something. They created space. They created peace for themselves. And you know how that feels, right? And you're like, okay, I get it, right? Take some of that energy, that confidence, that courage. Say what you mean without saying it mean. Or you don't have to say nothing, right? If you need to go outside for a second and breathe for 2 seconds, try it. If you haven't had peace in a while, think about what it could look like today. Because when we have peace, then we're role modeling it to others that we protect our peace, that we protect our self-care, that this is sacred space, right? How much stuff runs through our head rent-free, disrupting our peace. So think about it. Listen, it's a start of a new week. It's almost about to be the start of a new month. And we get to shift into peace. And for those who already had it, kudos to you. Drop it in the chat on what we need to do. But ultimately, we need our peace to be our best selves, to be our healthiest selves, to have our seats, to secure our seats, right? And so I just want to thank you all so much for joining me today. We were just having a community chat. I feel like we just needed a space to be together today. If you joined us late, watch the replay because we all need a little peace. Next Monday, we're going to have a launch party for You Are More Than Magic. I'm so excited. I just got my physical copy in the mail, and it's, I can't even believe I have a third book coming out. It really is wild. Just a few years ago, I had no books, right? And so if you listened earlier today, I did read a little bit from Right Within. If you're struggling finding your peace, this is the book for you. Mike, why don't you join us and close us out on today's affirmation for the month? Looking forward to that.
Hey, Minda.
Hey, bro, how are you?
Oh, I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. What's up? Close us out.
Yeah, awesome show today. That was very much needed. Absolutely. I was sitting back and enjoying it so much. As everybody knows, our affirmation this month is you are right where you're supposed to be. And I just wanted to share with everyone that when you're closest to your biggest breakthrough in life, there's a big distraction and there's a big blessing, and they run simultaneously. And if you can get to a place in your life where you can block out that distraction, then you can get closer to your blessing, because sometimes they'll look the same. So if you need to remove a friend from your life, they may be nice, but they may not be nice for you. They may be good people, but they may not be good for you. Whatever a distraction is, you have to remove that. And like you were saying, move closer to your peace. And a lot of times we don't receive the breakthroughs we want in our life because we try to entertain all these different things, because you talked about the old tools of survival. You had me cracking up behind the scenes. And these are things that we used to do, and how we used to cope with things, and what we used to say, and who we used to hang out with, and who we used to be with. Sometimes these are excellent people. Sometimes these are excellent situations. Sometimes these are great things, but they may not be great for us. And I want to tell everybody, in order for you to get to your next season in life, sometimes you have to remove some distractions. And it may be clothed in old friends. It may be clothed in old job situations. It may be clothed in people who talk to you any kind of way. But if you would just remove those, sometimes your greatest blessing is running simultaneously, and you have to block out that distraction and continue to tell yourself you're right where you're supposed to be. And at that point, you actually will be right where you're supposed to be. The goal of these affirmations is to speak things into existence. And when you begin to speak things, you'll look up, and whatever you've spoken will come into the natural. That's why we speak things and start affirmations. We're not just doing this to have a part of the segment of the show, the last segment. We're not just doing this to say something to people. We're doing this because whatever you speak that's lined up to your destiny and your purpose, we believe 100% will come to pass in your life. Thank you, Minda.
That was awesome. I was reading the comments in the chat, and peace. Listen, you dropped so many gems on us, Mike. I appreciate that. I hope you all will still keep reminding yourself you're right where you're supposed to be, even in the midst of craziness, when you think that all hope is lost, all peace is lost. I can't end the show without a rap lyric, because you know how we do. But I do think Beyonce is one of the greatest rappers of all times. You can debate me on this online, but There's a song that she wrote and that she has with Kendrick Lamar called Freedom. And I just want to read a little bit of it because I think part of freedom is finding our peace, right? Because it's hard to be free when you don't have peace. Very hard.
It's impossible.
And in the song Freedom, she says, freedom, freedom, I can't move. Freedom, cut me loose. Singing freedom, freedom, where are you? Because I need freedom too. I break chains all by myself. I won't let my freedom rot in hell. I'm going to keep running because a winner don't quit on themselves. So if you cannot get your peace, figure out how to get to it. Don't quit on getting your peace because peace leads to freedom. One definition of freedom is no longer feeling confined. Don't be confined to those things that are holding you back, that are stressing you out. Free yourself from it. And that's powerful, right? Don't let anyone disrupt your peace this week, including yourself. Because we can disrupt our own peace sometimes, okay? It's not, sometimes we're talking about what other people are doing to disrupt our peace, but how are we disrupting our peace too? And so let's think about those things, those patterns that are no longer serving us, those old tools of survival that are not leading to peace. And they stop us from our purpose, if we're being honest. So listen, I'm happy that you all came out today. One way to make the workplace better than we found it is finding our peace. Because when we have some peace, we can show up healthy, we can show up authentic. And so thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Secure the Seat Live. Next Monday, we're having a launch party for You Are More Than Magic. Mike, can you drop the pre-order link? You can get it wherever you like to buy your books. Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, Black-owned bookstores, women-owned bookstores, Bookshop, all sorts of places, on Audible, and just excited to share this third book moment with you. I feel like this third book is like my Black album with Jay-Z, you know, like this is the one. That's how I'm feeling, and then I'm going to retire from a little. Don't tell anyone at the publishing houses. Definitely going to need a break after this, but I'm just excited to bring this trilogy. Third time's a charm. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for supporting me on this book journey. It's been a wild ride, and I'm just so glad that we could take it together. And so have a good day. Don't let anyone disrupt your peace this week. You're right where you need to be. I think we all were right where we needed to be, Mike, today, right here on Secure the Seat.
Absolutely. And Mindy, you said something very special. You said, don't call me Mindy. I like that. I was dying laughing.
You don't know how many Mindys have disrupted my peace. Saying that, and then I let people say it, right? And so now I think, okay, well, you all have a great day. We'll see you soon. Thank you.